Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the July 5th, 2020 lunar eclipse in Capricorn, part 2 of 2. And first off, I want to talk about, well, as an example, as far as this transit hitting certain houses. Well, if this hits one's first or sixth house, this could be really, it could be some serious health issues that might be unveiled or revealed and people become cognizant of. If it's in the sixth house, I would say especially if it's in conjunct the ascendant, because of course inconjuncts can be about health related issues and could be something connected like with the hamstring, the knees, or the bones or the joints. And the fact that it would fall in a lunar eclipse, of course, would be more pronounced. It could be more, I mean, at least a greater propensity for it to be more pronounced than a typical full moon. On a full moon, it could be something like like some kind of strain, or just some minor injury to like the hamstring or the knees. And if there's something, this is a concerns a lunar eclipse, it could be like something as serious as knee replacement surgery. Keep in mind that Pluto is also in Capricorn right now, and if somebody's having this lunar eclipse, say it takes place in their first or sixth house, there's a good chance that Pluto will also be there at the same time. And of course, Pluto is about surgery. Say if this falls in the 12th house, it could be some revelation or unveiling of like a mental illness such as depression, of some kind. And it could be also too, if this falls in the eighth house as well. I mean, eighth house is connected with surgery, and if this is making an inconjunct aspect to the one's ascendant, well, that could be something surgical that could be required that might be associated with what I just described as some examples, something with the hamstrings and knees, the bones, the joints. It could signify bone surgery as an example. Now, it's also important to look at the aspects it makes to points in one's natal chart. Of course, this could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, mine is going to make an inconjunct aspect to my natal moon in Gemini. A lot of people won't talk about transits from one planet making a transit aspect to the same planet in your chart, but it still could have certain significance and still has energy connected with it, even though it's the same. You're talking about the same planet making an aspect to your own planet in the natal placement. It still could have significance. This is in this example, fact that you're talking about in a transit. I'm going to have again the transit moon in transit lunar eclipse in Capricorn is going to make an inconjunct aspect to my natal moon in Gemini. And even though it's not a square or an opposition, there's still a strong disparity of energy with this. Moon in Capricorn can be about actions taking precedence over words, and of course the moon in Gemini could be overly loquacious and all talk and maybe not as much action. And the fact that you're talking about inconjuncts in astrology can be about adjustments. So this could be an adjustment, very strong adjustment period, considering that this is going to take place I mean, this is the lunar eclipse, and it's going to be a little bit more intensified than, or maybe a lot more intensified and amplified, I should say, in contrast to a regular full moon. So this could be about really about this trying to decide, well, actions taking precedence over words, and being in my ninth house. This transit maybe matters with global communications or some publishing issue matter, or am I gonna be, or it could be just about the moon and natal moon Gemini first house, a lot of loquacious energy, an emotional need to talk a lot, and really diversify, as opposed to maybe being opposed to doing the moon and Capricorn thing, focusing on one thing and being more single-minded. And the fact that it's an inconjunct could indicate there could be too much energy going in one way or perhaps the other. This could also manifest for me as perhaps women. I mean, the moon can reflect prominent women in one's life. This could be a situation where maybe, or maybe the public to some degree, it can be where it could be undemonstrative or cold or callous. Prominent women in my life might have maybe a negative impact on how I feel emotionally, being the fact that it's in conjunct my natal moon in Gemini, causing some emotional irritability and exasperation perhaps, and maybe some high strung energy coming out in reactions. And you're talking about high strung animated emotional energy perhaps coming out as a excitable energy as a result, and it could be very intensified given that it's going to happen at the time of the lunar eclipse. And anyway, it's also important to look at electional aspects this makes, as this of course could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, it's going to make a square to Chiron and Aries, but it's going to be involved actually in a cardinal T-square configuration, because of course when you have the lunar eclipse or full moon in astrology, the moon is going to make an opposition aspect to the sun. You have the opposition there, and the sun and the moon are both going to be squared by Chiron in Aries. Now, some people may not use Chiron in a configuration aspect. I use it. It's subjective to people, but I think it's very significant and important. You have Chiron being the focal point of this. Really, the focal point of a T-square configuration is really, it could be that point of over accentuation, over emphasis. You have the opposition from the sun in Cancer to the moon in Capricorn. A lot of this energy, I think, could be manifesting in having that energy of a home introversion, protective energy versus the emotional need for the career. And remember, the sun can be connected with life in astrology. People's lives being connected due to this pandemic, a lot of people being more insular about being more protective, being more introverted, staying to themselves and being sheltered, while you have this moon in Capricorn could reflect this energy about really that emotional, that need to have business, to have one's career, and really this frustration, I'm thinking, as a result, perhaps with that Chiron and Aries being at the focal point of this cardinal T-square configuration, it could manifest in some kind of volatile actions and a lot of acrimony and some, because Chiron is not just about emotional ones, it could be about physical ones as well. And the Chiron in Aries is going to fall in the United States in the 4th house, in the United States chart. The one I'm referring to, of course, is the one with the Sagittarius rising. That is the one I go with. Other people may favor another United States chart. So it could manifest in maybe a proliferation of domestic violence. So you have to really, this could be very critical time right now. And anyway, the next thing I want to talk about, as far as saving symbols go, it's going to be at 13 degrees. So 13 degrees Capricorn. So this could actually be very fortuitous and auspicious period. This could be, as far as saving symbols go, given it's the moon, there might be a greater propensity for prosperity, which could significantly improve one's stature in life. And it could be something Capricorn related. It could be something with information technology or accounting, or something with dentistry. It could be something business related or government or political type of work. So this could be, and actually, the fact that this is going to be on a lunar eclipse, this could be a very important time for a lot of people that may be trying to improve their stature in life, how they stack up perhaps against others in terms of doing something in their career that could have very strong increased prosperity. Now, another thing to look at is that when you're talking about a lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse in astrology, other transits to your natal chart, of course, could be intensified and amplified because they're occurring at the same time or concurrently at the time of the lunar eclipse. At this time, I'm going to have transit retrograde Mercury make a conjunction to my natal sun at this time. Now, of course, this could manifest in a multitude of ways. This could be about Well, it's interesting because I'm trying right now to get my ID renewed, and there's been some complication and delay. And the fact is, the sun can reflect identity, so this could be about that news that I might be getting regarding it. And it's also going to impact my home life, likely, of course, being in the zodiac sign of Cancer, because I'm planning on making another short journey sometime in the near future. Remember, Mercury is connected with short journeys, but on a positive end, this could also be a time for me where I may be able to articulate and extemporize in speech, because Mercury in Cancer can be about extemporaneous speech and speaking off the cuff. And of course, um, about things that I want, because the sun is connected with what we want in astrology. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, could also be some kind of news regarding my physical body. I hope that's not the case, because the sun can be associated with physical issues. Now, the ascendant, of course, is what dominates the appearance and health issues, but the sun can play a role in the physical issues, or perhaps some debilitation. So last but not least, another thing I wanted to get at is that other electional transits can be amplified and intensified because they're taking place at the same time as the lunar eclipse. You're going to have retrograde Jupiter be making a conjunction to retrograde Saturn along with Pluto at this time. And this could manifest in a number of ways, but one thing I'm looking at, sadly, is that this could be about, you're talking about retrograde energy going back. It might be going back to more global restrictions as far as traveling abroad and stipulations from the government, and being the fact Pluto's in that mix connected with some kind of virus, in this case the coronavirus. It might really be is something where it might be somewhat negative, this energy at this time, sadly, and I hope that's not the case. But the United States recently actually had, some of you may know, recently had the highest day total in confirmed coronavirus cases. And the last I looked, it was at 38,000. It may have hit close to 50,000 by the completion of that calendar day. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard signing, stay well.